Hi everyone, it's Tammy, and I figured it was time for an update. It has been probably a year since I've really done one, and this last year has been quite heavy, and there's been a lot that's happened, and some of it is not exactly my story to tell, so I am only going to be sharing some of it and only from my perspective, so please know that. And I did bring my nail polish remover and stuff over here in case I feel like I want to do something while I'm talking to you guys, because it is a little uncomfortable. I am by nature a kind of a private person, but I do know that you guys, some of you, have been following me for a long, long time. And although, frankly, it's nobody's business what's happening in my personal life, I know that some of you guys do care. And because of that, I want to show respect to you and let you know that I care about you as well. And I know that some of the things that I might say in my planner, you guys might be confused just because, wait, what? What's going on? So one of the biggest things that I know a lot of people have asked some questions about, and I usually don't respond to the questions, and that's fine. I mean, you guys can ask whatever you want, but know that if it's something I'm not comfortable with or don't feel like sharing or don't want to share, I'm not going to respond. And if you are ugly, I will block you. You can say whatever you want to say about me. I don't care. But don't say things about my kids or my family. This is not an ugly channel. This is a beautiful channel. And because of that that's the reason I want to even share anything. But, so, last Easter, both of my kids came here to Indiana to spend Easter with my husband and I. So, well, he wasn't even my husband then. We got married in May. But Chris has been a rock and is solid, and he is one of the very best things in my entire life. And I love him to pieces and dearly. And the way he loves me and my family is amazing. Our family. And my kids love him. Hazel loves him. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. He's a great soul, and I am very blessed to have him. But in April, my son had decided that he did not want to be in Michigan anymore, and he decided that he also had an addiction that he needed to fight. And he asked if we could help him with that. And of course, we said yes. We knew he was struggling with some things, but we didn't exactly know how to help, when to help, where to help. Some of you guys probably, I think I did mention before that I had been through Al-Anon. Well, not through Al-Anon. You don't get through it. It's something that you just do. And my son had some struggles, and Al-Anon really does help. I don't know if any of you guys need that or even know what that is, but it is a program for, at least in the United States, for family members of people who are addicted to either drugs or alcohol or both. I think there actually is something that's made specifically for drugs, but honestly, I didn't know what my son's struggles were exactly. I knew that when he drank, he would drink too much. And I also knew that he was experimenting, and I knew that from my perspective, he was very much arguing the case that marijuana should be legal in every state. And so I knew that he liked his marijuana, which the kids call weed. So I might reference it as that, but hopefully I won't talk about it very much, because that is not, I mean, it's important, but it's not important. And any of you guys that are fighting or struggling with it, it is addictive. And I'm no scientist. I'm a mom, and I am very much anti-drugs and even alcohol. I don't mind partaking in alcohol, but if there's anything that is a crutch or that you need to have, that's a problem. And so I don't know, that's just a little side note, just to, if there's something that a family member is struggling with or whatever, you might just talk to them about it, which is all I really felt like I could do with Alex, because he knew what he knew. He was 23. He knew what he knew, and he knew what he wanted to do, and mom wasn't really telling him anything. But when he came here in April at Easter time, and I have this light on and it's very hot, so excuse me if I'm sweating. Maybe I'll even open my window a little bit. And he knew at that time that he needed some help, that he had tried to fight it himself and he couldn't. And so he knew he needed help. So that was a huge, huge step. And he was admitted into, it's an inpatient. I don't know if that's right. It's, he lives there. It's a residential, that's a better word, treatment facility in northern Indiana, and it is a year-long program. So he is almost at the point of graduation, although they only do graduation once a year in the fall, so he won't be able to celebrate graduation. And he actually isn't, he's graduating from the program, but he's going to stay in the program as an intern, and they help with life after addiction as well, because and this program is really great, and it is Bible-based. And when Alex came to me, one of the things that we talked about prior to even knowing about this place was that, you've tried everything else. Maybe it is time to try church and to try Jesus. And I'm gonna try not to be preachy or religious or any of that. I try not to do that too much anyway. Not because I just because I think it has a bad stigma attached to it, and I think that it turns a lot of people off. I am a believer. I believe more now than I ever did. I am closer to God now than I've ever been. And some of you guys might not even call it God. You might call it a higher power or whatever. And it's a beautiful thing. And honestly, without faith and without God, I don't know where any of us would be, especially me. So I don't want to act like I know it all, or I'm a sinner. I'm a normal just mom and worker bee and middle-aged woman, but I know that Jesus never looks into anyone's eyes that he doesn't love. And I know that he died for my sins, and I know that he died for your sins, and I know that he loves you, and he loves me, and he's with us every day, all day, anywhere we are, and he will meet us where we are. So, I had been getting closer to my pastor at our church just because I really like him and his wife. And when I moved here, we started going to the little church, and like I said, we weren't married yet. We were getting married. And so Alex said that he wanted to talk to him, and through them is how we found the facility that he's at. And it's called Teen Challenge. I wasn't sure if I should mention the name, but honestly, it is so fabulous, and it is a nationwide program. They have them in multiple states. I even know they have it in Hawaii. So if it's something that you or someone is struggling with, it might be something that you check out. It's called Adult and Teen Challenge. They call it Teen Challenge most of the time, but it's not just for teens. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know of any teens that are in the facility or have even been in the facility that Alex is in. He is one of the younger ones there, and there are people that are 60 there. So, people of all ages and all different needs are there. It's to fight addictions of any kind. So it's not just drugs or alcohol, or it could be pornography or anything. And it is a huge commitment, and it is I'm going to even say it's a huge sacrifice. And Alex has given up a lot, but he has gained far more than he's given up. And that includes not being able to see Hazel very often, because he's only able to see Hazel when someone brings her there. And he's about 2.5, 3 hours away from me. And we do try to go about every other Sunday to visit him. And he is doing phenomenally. He is a changed man. He is one of my heroes. Both of my children they are incredible. So he has been struggling with that. And then there were some issues that he's working through with just life. It's hard. And some of the decisions that he made when he was doing things he shouldn't have been doing have, caused some circumstances and some, every action has a consequence. And, he's dealing with some of that mentally, physically. However, we all have to deal with our demons in the way that we have to deal with them. So that is my son in a very brief nutshell. As you can imagine, that has been very heavy and hard. And it's also been, I say that, and then, there's so many things that, and because of Jesus, I'm able to see the blessings in these things too, because without some of the choices that he made, he may not be where he is. Without some of the choices that he made, he would not be where he is. Without some of the choices that he made, if I'm completely honest with you, he might not even be on this earth if he hadn't made some of the choices that he's made. Because he was in a deep, dark, ugly spot, which is not my story to tell. And none of that is anything that has to do with me. But as my son, I can tell you, I was very worried that I would get that phone call more than one time. And I know that I had some bad dreams, some bad thoughts, some just horrifying as a mother of someone that you are worried about. You guys, some of you can relate, I'm sure. So, and this world is cruel and it's hard, and God doesn't make it any, God had never said it was going to be easy. He does make it easier because you realize you're not alone, and you realize that there is help, and that there are people, even if it's just God, that love you. And I am, like I said, a very private person, and I don't like to share a lot of things. But there are a few people, once you've kind of gotten to know them a little bit more, or whatever, you talk with them and you learn them and you live life with them. And I can tell you that our pastor and my husband and a couple other friends here in where I live in Colfax, I thank God for them every single day. They are amazing, amazing, good, wholesome, nice people. And I know my mom used to always say that you become like the 5 people that you hang around with the most. And I can say that there are some really good people here, and I'm trying my hardest to hang out with them most and to spend time with Jesus, because he needs to be one of my 5 for sure. And that's a struggle for me. I don't always take the time to read my Bible and delve into things and really form that relationship, but it is so much stronger than it's ever been. And it's a really cool thing, if any of you guys need to hear that. So I'm really trying not to preach, and I'm not a victim in any of this. And a lot of it, like I said, has just been from a mom perspective, and it hasn't been me that it's affected personally. Well, I don't know, because it has, but you know what I mean? Like, this isn't my struggle. I don't struggle with addiction like that, and God bless anyone and everyone that does. And when you learn some of these people, it's amazing how you realize that we're all people. We are all struggling with our own demons, and these people aren't much different from anyone else. They aren't different from anyone else. Their story is different, but you could be one mistake away from your whole life changing, one decision away from prison, from addiction, from divorce, from anything. And it's really, you really have to guard your heart and guard yourself. And I think you also have to be kind, because you don't know what other people are struggling with or what is going on in their life. Because even if, like I said, these things aren't personal in that they're happening to me, they're happening to my family, which is sometimes harder than if it were happening to me. But it's also not my lesson to learn, but indirectly, it's absolutely my lesson to learn. And now that you're listening to me, it's your lesson to learn as well. Jesus is kind and Jesus is love, and that is what I try to do, and more than now than ever. I remember even being young and people used to say, "Oh, you're so sweet," and I can be. The world hardened me for a little while as well. Like if you let things get you, you can become ugly too, and it's easy to turn things off, and it's easy to do. I mean, Satan is real, and he will put things in front of you that are very tempting and very, I mean, let's face it, he disguised himself as an angel too. So, I mean, the things that he presents are very enticing and very right now and very, they look fabulous at the time, but Jesus is the long haul, and he's the one that's going to be there for you in the long haul. And you can't necessarily fall for the quick and easy, down and dirty, this is a good time, when you have a whole future and life in front of you. And you are an example to the people in your family and around you. I always have thought, I need to do the right thing because my kids are watching me. And then now I have a grandchild watching me, and I'm a boss at work, and I have all of my staff watching me, and everybody. I mean, honestly, I don't want anybody to look at me and go, "Oh my gosh, she's blah, blah, blah," or whatever ugly. And I know some people will anyway, but I want my presence to be kind and loving. I want to be more like Jesus. So that's what I am working on myself. And so also Easter weekend, Katie came home, and she was living in St. Louis, and she came home without David. And we learned that David was also in a rehab facility. He was an alcoholic, and he was an abusive alcoholic. And it was a lot for Katie to deal with, and she was dealing with it in the best way she could. And she was, like I said, she was in a whole different state, and David's family was in a different state, the same state, and she would turn to them, and they knew of some of the struggles. And it was a really difficult year for her. She had just gotten married in June, and the abuse didn't start until after they were married, but then it did start, and oh my goodness, I can't even. But Easter weekend, we learned of that as well. And like I said, David went to a rehab facility. He was actually in Tennessee. So Katie was able to work out some things with her job, and she took some time off, and she moved in here for a little bit. And these issues were so strong that it was too much for her to handle. And she told David that she was not going to be able to stay married to him. And David, unfortunately, on October 13th of 2023, was in a fatal car accident, drinking and driving. So he was 27 years old, and he is no longer with us. So in some ways, it made some of the decisions a little easier. I say that tongue in mouth or whatever they say because none of these decisions are easy. And Katie, whew, like I said, she's one of my heroes too. I don't know that she has handled herself with grace and dignity, and she is amazing to have gone through so much. And she is, young. She's 26 years old now and just turned 26. So she's had a hand to deal with. I mean, she's moved school, she's moved states, she has had to deal with divorce, she's had to deal with death, she's started a new job, and she really hasn't found it. She's living with some friends right now, which is great, and I think she's happy, but she's not sure where she wants to live. She thought she wanted to live alone. She had an apartment, but that just didn't work out. She doesn't really like being alone too much, and staying here was an okay option, but not great. She didn't want to stay here really. She stayed with her dad for a little bit, again, an okay option, but not exactly what she wants either. So right now she's living with some friends, and she is very much, she's been stronger in her faith than I have been a lot of her life. I mean, I don't know what it was about her, but she seemed like she was just born with faith. As a matter of fact, when she was really young, her dad's family and I are Catholic. I converted to Catholicism before I married him, and his mom was very, I don't want to say religious, but she was very spiritual and religious. And she thought Katie was going to be a nun for a while because she was so devout. And so, I mean, she wanted to go in the prayer room, and she was just a little girl. So, I mean, it was neat. And she's always, and it's not fake, she's always been the believer and the one that, raises her arms and, just loves and trusts. And thank God for that, because again, who knows where any of us would be. But so she is doing really well. So both of my kids today are doing great. They are both struggling with demons. Just I think it's a lifelong struggle, and I think we all are. So I don't want to point them out and say they're struggling. But their struggle it might be different than yours or different than mine. Just like, a sin is a sin is a sin. Someone once said that, we look at sins and we go, okay, it looks like you're looking at New York City from the ground, looking at all the different buildings and skyscrapers. And, some people, they murdered somebody, or some people robbed a bank, or some people smoked marijuana, or some people watched pornography or whatever. And so those sins are all rated in our heads at different scales and different building sizes. But the way that Jesus looks at it is from above, and he just sees all of the buildings, all of the sins. It doesn't matter. A sin is a sin is a sin. Doesn't matter the size or how we determine it. He hurts for all of us, and he wants all of us to find our way, and the way is by the truth and the Bible. And I mean, these are my beliefs, and I'm not trying to push it on you, but this is what gets me through. And I don't know, I'm not going to be ashamed to say it, and I'm not going to not say it, because I don't want to get, somebody's bad side. I mean, whatever. There's one truth, and I believe that it is Jesus. And he died for our sins, and he is, I don't even know what they say. I'm trying to think, the light, the way, the truth, the way, the light, the truth, something like that. But yes, without my faith, and again, I'm not trying to sound preachy, and I don't normally even bring it up, but because I'm doing the update, and why am I giving an explanation? I don't need to. I know that. but I just don't want to offend anyone, because that's not my intention either. I don't want to turn anyone off of what they think is right. And if that's you, I'm glad that you found something that you think is right and true, and I'll just leave it at that. But I do pray for all of you guys, and I pray for our world. I wouldn't want to be a teenager right now. I wouldn't want to be a young adult right now. There's a lot. I mean, even social media alone and YouTube and all of it, it's so much. I mean, can you imagine if they had text messaging when I was a kid? It would be awful. And I say that, but that's what kids grow up with now. I mean, my kids were a little bit, I mean, they're at the age that they didn't have cell phones at the ready when they were, 10, or I think they got their cell phones when they were 12. But I mean, it's like Hazel already knows how to use a phone, or kind of. I mean, she'll play with it. She'll want to see my phone and stuff, and I don't let her do it because I don't trust it. I really just don't. And I don't want, I mean, pictures and just none of it's gone. You can delete it, but it's not gone. It's still there. And whew, so hard and heavy and just, ugh. And then, so Easter was crazy. And then May, we got married, which was wonderful. And we were able to go to Hawaii. We went to Maui for 2 weeks. And my goodness, that is the best vacation I've ever had by far. It was wonderful. Hawaii is beautiful. And this was right before the fires, so we missed those. Thank God. I mean, there are so many blessings in all of this, and I can't even go on with all of them. But I used to tell my kids, and I do still believe it, that if you look for the negative, you're going to find it every time. Sometimes finding the positive is a little harder, but it's there too. You have to look for it, and you have to lean into it, because leaning into the negative or making poor choices because it's easier is a short term. It's a permanent, it can lead to permanent problems for temporary feelings. So we just need to, this world, we just need to love on each other and be kind with each other and all of that. Work has been a challenge this year. It's a little frustrating. There are things that are happening that I don't know. I don't even want to say that. How do I want to say it? It's just been challenging this year. There's just been people and change isn't always bad. I actually welcome change a lot of times, but change for no good reason, maybe. And that's not even true either, because sometimes you just need a change, and that's a good enough reason. But what am I trying to say? Like, I haven't felt as appreciated as I have before, and that's very difficult for me. I like feeling like I do a good job, and like I am appreciated, and that the things that I've done or do are meaningful. And some of that has gone away, and that's been real challenging for me. But again, I can see positive things, and I just try to lean into those. Let's see. Chris's health has been improving, and that I can only praise Jesus for, because we have some prayer warriors. I don't even know if you guys know his history, but he had thyroid cancer, and then he had neck cancer. Like, I don't even know what they call it exactly, but he's had his thyroid removed, and then he also had some lymph nodes removed, and he's had radiation and chemo. And this was before I met him, but his exams have been no active disease, which has been fabulous. but the chemotherapy that he took has really played havoc on his kidneys, and he has very poor kidney functioning. So we have been praying hard for that, because he hadn't been too far off from having to go on dialysis, but he has not had to do that. And we don't even see that. The doctors aren't even talking about that anymore, because his numbers have improved so much. And, he's changed some things too. He's had to change some things, but he's doing great. And I think some of the prayer warriors that are on it, we say prayers every day for his kidneys, and it's amazing to see the numbers rate rising on his lab work, because he does get checked quite often, and he gets his ultrasounds, and he gets his just everything, and it's fabulous. So we are very blessed and very happy for that. Roxy, our dog, has been a blessing for sure. She is amazing and so much fun, and she loves Chris as much as she loves me. It's wild, because she was a COVID baby, so I got her during COVID, and then I stayed at home, and it was just me and Roxy, if you guys remember, just the two of us in the house. Well, I had two cats too for quite a while, and she didn't know anybody else. She didn't do anything with anyone. She met my friends. She met Tracy. She met Lisa. She met my kids, things like that. But, she didn't spend time with anyone else per se. And I wasn't sure how she would do with Chris, but she loves him. And it's such a beautiful thing, because he loves her too. And beautiful things as well. I mean, Hazel, what a blessing. My goodness, this girl. So that's my granddaughter. You guys probably know that. But we do get to see her quite often. And some of that has been because Alex is not able to see her or have her as much. So we've taken on a little bit of that responsibility, just because it's the right thing to do. And honestly, because we love her so much. I mean, it's such a joy having her here. And Chris loves her as much as I do. And that is a beautiful thing too. I remember when I had kids, and I was married to Leo, the kid's dad, and when I don't know, when I saw him playing with them, or just being a dad, it was so warming, and I was like, I never knew how much I could love you, because you love my kids so much. I don't know, it's a weird, and you guys who have children, you probably know what I'm saying. And then now with a granddaughter, it's that same thing. Like I love Chris even more, because he loves her so much. And it's beautiful. And she's doing great. She is 2. She'll be 3 in May. And she is working on potty training, and she's talking. She's not talking a lot. I know I've mentioned that before, but she is making some complete sentences now. And Alex didn't talk a lot either, so I don't know if it's just a delay. And I mean, she doesn't need to talk, so she can communicate sometimes without talking, most times without talking. But I try to get her to use her words, and I know her mom works with her a lot, and her mom's mom is, her other grandma is really great with her too. And Leo and his wife, they are great. I mean, we all spend time with her. I think I get her, as far as Alex's side, I know I get her far more than anybody else. And it's a blessing. It really is. I love it. And like I said, we'll take her to visit with Alex, and we get to see them together. And then when Alex has breaks, we always make sure we get to have Hazel too. And it's fabulous. It's fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And we enjoy our time, and it's fun being a grandma. So, I think that's about everything. I mean, I know I've skipped a lot, and I know that there's been days that have been much harder than other days, and I wasn't ready even to talk about it for a long time, but I know that I had asked for prayers before, and then after the the hardship of the loss, the tragedy of losing David. That was a big deal. But we are thankful that he didn't have anybody else with him, that no one else got hurt. He actually did hit a semi-truck. So we pray for the semi-truck driver because he was involved in a fatal accident of no fault of his own. But I can imagine that that's hard to live with, even if it was a complete accident from his perspective. David, paid the ultimate price, and although he was struggling, and trying to fight his demons, he couldn't get rid of them. And we choose to believe that he is in heaven. He did know Christ. That makes all of us feel a little bit better. And, God has a reason for everything. And I mean, we can only think of some things as, you can think whatever you want, but I think that if Katie hadn't done what she had done, she may have been with him. He may have hurt her in a different way. But we are very thankful that luckily no one else got hurt. And it's not our plan. So we have to just deal with the hand that we're given. And like I said, life was never promised to be easy. As a matter of fact, it's hard. And it's challenging. And there are things that are going to hit us every day. Some days, all day. Sometimes you just feel like a punching bag. Other days, aren't so bad. And you've just got to lean in when you need it. And so all in all is good. We are looking forward to this Easter season, and it is Lent. It's the Lenten season, and Ash Wednesday was just last week. It's Wednesday today that I'm filming this. It's before work. I don't even know what time it is. It's almost 7. But I've been thinking about doing an update for quite a while, and this morning in the shower, I thought, you know what, let's just do it. And I had actually written some things down. I don't even know what I did with that list. I think I threw it in the trash yesterday or the day before, because I had written on the back of something, and then I think that I didn't need that anymore. It was a sticker sheet. And I remember seeing the sticker sheet and thinking, oh, this is empty. And I didn't look on the back, and I think I threw it away, actually, now that I'm looking for it. But I wrote out a few things, and I don't know, I may have missed some things in my update. And if you guys have questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Again, I don't know that I'll answer all of them, but just know that we're all good. We're happy. We are healthy. We are in it to win it. And we know that we are not alone, and none of us are victims. I think everybody has lessons to learn, and we are presented with choices and lessons all day long, and life is about choices. You have to choose wisely. So I guess I will end on that. Thank you all for watching. I really do love you guys. I know that sounds so cliche, and I do pray for you, and I appreciate you, and I'm certainly not doing this because I get $1 million a year, or even I don't even get a paycheck from YouTube every month, because I don't make enough. And I don't do it because I get a paycheck at all. I do it because I enjoy it. And then it just kind of turned into something, and that was kind of neat. And it's kind of cool now that, I do get a little, I'm going to say I average probably about $50 or $60 a month. So it's not a lot, but it's a little bit, and it's cool that I even get anything. So I'm not complaining at all, but I'm saying that because I want you to know that I'm trying to be as sincere as I can. And if this channel were to kick off, and I was able to make a living out of it, that would be fabulous too. And I would be very grateful, but that's not the reason I do it. And I'm not even striving to do that. I just wanted you guys to know that I appreciate you. I guess that's what I need to say. Stop rambling. But thank you for everything. And I appreciate the prayers and just the happy thoughts and the kind words. And I wanted you guys to know a little bit of what was going on, just because I know that I too would have questions if if roles were reversed. So yeah, just be kind and enjoy today. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.